Hello. Well, we are on to day 3 of the 40-day challenge, which is me just talking to camera for, 10 minutes or so, getting to know each other, get an indication of who I am, what I do, my life, all that good stuff. So I came back from Canberra today. I was down there visiting friends and I just had the best time. It is pretty early, but I'm already really ready for bed. The weather was absolutely beautiful. If you haven't been down to Canberra, this time of year is so beautiful. It is very leafy down there and the leaves all change colours, the air is really fresh. And I spent my time cuddling babies and catching up with friends and eating a lot of food. It's also been a fairly reflective day for me, I would say, for a couple of reasons. The first is it's my birthday in a couple of weeks, which, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I get really, really reflective in the weeks coming up to New Year's and birthdays. You sort of do a little bit of a checklist as to where you're at and what you want and what you've achieved and what you haven't achieved, which for the last couple of years, that part has probably been on my mind a little bit more. So it was a fairly reflective time as I was driving back to Sydney, and you get that we have these periods in our lives, and generally I'm pretty good, but I do just find these times of the year hard. I think the other thing is, and I've mentioned it in previous videos, but 6 months ago I was diagnosed with celiac disease and diabetes within 2 weeks of each other. That's type 2 diabetes, and my goal is to reverse that, and medically I am actually already in remission, but I am still medicated, which I do want to come off at some stage. But medically I am in remission from my diabetes. But over the last 6 months it has been tough. Emotionally, I think accepting that your body is not perfect. And obviously physically society tells me that on the regular. But I've always considered myself to be a physically very strong person, and to be diagnosed with celiac and diabetes within a 2-week period. And then I had COVID, and then I had a throat infection. The end of last year was very rough. And I don't think celiac disease is a weakness. It's just something that emotionally I have had to adapt to. And I have done that quite well. I've recently been tested. I had tests done a couple of weeks ago and my gluten levels are normalised, so that's great. That means I haven't been consuming gluten, and that's visible when I get blood tests. But I think holistically, when you do have, you're coming up to some fairly big birthdays in the next year or two, you do review your life. And you've got friends who have gone through some pretty big things recently as well, both positive and also things that have been challenging for them as well. I would say it's just the time of our lives where a lot of big things happen, so a lot to process and a lot of things that you wish for yourself and don't wish for yourself. But, generally feeling very positive about the remaining 2023. We're nearly halfway through, which is outrageous. But generally feeling really positive about it. And, I'd love to know, what big things you guys have set for yourself, and if you've achieved them, if you haven't achieved them, why not? Is it something that you're reevaluating? My big goal was to reverse my type 2 diabetes, and I seem to be on track for that. So that's positive. But then the other big thing is on the work front for me. So yeah, it's just been, I think the next 40 days of this essentially diary entry will be quite interesting, and I think it'll be interesting for me to revisit. But I also sort of hope that my ramblings and my own thoughts about where I'm at, they might get you thinking about things that you want for yourself or things that you're really happy with. And, despite the last really 12 months that have been very challenging for me, I'm so extremely grateful for other things. I moved homes just over a year ago, so I'm really settled and very happy here. And the friends and family I have, I am always grateful for. And I'm also just really grateful for who I am. It's probably an outrageous thing to say, but I actually really like who I am. Obviously things I want to improve on. Quite a lot of things I want to improve on. But I like who I am. And I like that I can dream big. And I'm really hoping that I'm sort of starting to put some of those things in place, which is exciting. But also, as I said, I think there are a few things coming up where I'll sort of be on a little bit of a roller coaster over the next couple of weeks. Some amazing things, some things I just need to sort of check in as to where I'm at. But I'm sure I'll talk about it with you. So yeah, overall, a really nice weekend. I'm so grateful for my friends, particularly those down in Canberra. How progressive Canberra is in regards to gluten-free food options. And, grateful that I'm alive, mostly pretty healthy. And, I'm going to see Jay Shetty tomorrow night, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that. He's a podcaster. I will link below. Really famous podcaster, YouTuber. Used to be a monk, I think, for something like 3 years when he was 20 years old or something. So he's got some really interesting perspectives on things, which, quite often just get me thinking about myself. But yeah, I'll sort of check out. I'm watching Love is Blind at the moment on Netflix, which I know is shameful, but I'm loving it. And maybe that's also making me a little bit reflective. The whole concept that love is blind, and I do believe that. I know that exists, but whether it's sustainable is another question. So yeah, lots of things swirling around in terms of love, relationships, health, wealth, happiness, friendships, all sorts. But that's the beauty of life, right? And tomorrow's a new day, and we can take it by the kahunas, so to speak, and make amends as we see fit. So it's all positive, even when it's not. I will check in tomorrow. Bye.